Hello, how are we doing, everyone? Welcome to Chopping It with Father. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all ages, this is the first cooking show I've done with FoodTok TV. Definitely will not be the last. I'm excited to be the newest content creator. Today, we're going to be cooking with pumpkin. We're going to be using a lot of ways that, or at least a couple ways that are more savory, not necessarily sweet like always. Now, I might do a sweet drink with it, but I wanted to at least show an application of it being savory also. So, you know what? Let me invite my host, my mod that's going to be the host with the most when she comes up for a moment. But hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Benjamin, aka Father Preneur, Cooking with Father Preneur. I'm the newest content creator for FoodTok TV. And like I said, we're cooking with pumpkin. But before I start, I need to work on cutting up some bacon. Who here likes bacon? If you like bacon, let me know that you like bacon. Who in here enjoys bacon? Please let me know. So let's work on cutting up some bacon. I'm gonna need to crisp this in a pan. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do lardon cuts, which is kind of strips of bacon, because this is gonna be for a pasta dish I'm gonna be making. The pasta itself is gonna be a pasta carbonara, and I'm gonna do a pumpkin version of it, and I'll keep it a savory. Actually, there she is, the best mod ever. Let's bring her up. How are you doing, Taylor, Mustard Queen?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing very, very well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Hold on, I'm trying to get my
Oh,
camera on. There we go.
okay, don't worry. Perfect. Well, nice to see you.
Nope. Okay, I don't know how buttons work. Hello, y'all. Welcome in. So, what are you
So,
making today?
so today I'm going to be using up pumpkin. The goal is to use pumpkin up. I'm going to be cooking fresh. So the part of me cooking fresh with pumpkin, I feel that pumpkin is one of the things that always gets used as a sweet component, and I'm going to probably do something sweet with it, yes, but I also want to show savory, how it could be used in the savory aspect. And then also the reason I'm using fresh pumpkin, at least in Arizona where I live, in Arizona, I can get canned pumpkin 365 days of the year. When it comes to fresh pumpkin, I can only get that 60 to 90 days of the year. So I figured that, especially at the grocery store right now, that's all you see is pumpkin everywhere. So I figured might as well use fresh where you have it available.
Right.
So
Tis the
I'm going to be,
season.
yeah, it's the season. Why not use it? Yes, it's easy to use canned, but also why not use fresh if it's available? So I am going to start off with rendering down some bacon. I've cut some bacon into lardon cuts, which is little strips pretty much. It's just little strips of bacon. It's just a fancy French word to say strips of bacon, little strips. The goal is to render this down. I took 5 strips of bacon that I've cut down. Now I actually did 6. The reason I did 6, me being in the food and beverage business for so long, I've learned a little trick that happens. There's something called a chef's bite. You always cook a little
I
extra
call them
so you can
chef
snack,
snacks.
so you can have a little bit of snacking. Who doesn't like bacon? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna render down a little bit of bacon right now and go from there. Then I'll start with cutting up the fresh pumpkin.
Right
But hope
on.
everyone's having a good day. Thank you for coming today. If you're not aware, my name is Benjamin, aka Cooking with Father Preneur. I'm the newest content creator for FoodTok TV. Welcome. And we're gonna be cooking with pumpkin today, fresh pumpkin. I'll be making a pumpkin carbonara. I'm also gonna be making a pumpkin spice bourbon sour. Say that 5 times fast. Sorry, just washing my
Pumpkin
hands real quick.
spice bourbon sour.
Yeah,
Pumpkin spice bourbon.
it's a mouthful. Then, if time allows, I have a couple other tricks up my sleeve. We'll see what else we come up with. But the thing I'm excited about when it comes to the pumpkin spice. So I actually, to be honest, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Pumpkin spice, I actually do not like. So someone might say, well, that's weird. Why are you gonna be doing pumpkin spice? The reason why I don't like pumpkin spice is because it doesn't contain pumpkin. If you look at all the ingredients that when you order something that has pumpkin spice, it's all the spices that you use to add to pumpkin, but it usually does not have the pumpkin. It doesn't have the main star, the main component. So that's a little odd, right? So my pumpkin spice is actually going to contain pumpkin, like it should. So, but I'm gonna start off with cutting up a fresh pumpkin. Simplest way is cut off the
So it's not
ends.
that you don't like the flavors of it, it's more out of principle kind of thing.
Sorry, no, it's more out of principle. It's more like, well, if you're gonna have, it's like saying, I don't know, hypothetically, bourbon sour, but doesn't have bourbon. It's just sour then, isn't it? So it's
Right.
just kind of just more of a concept. It's like that doesn't make sense. So
Right, or someone trying to give you a whiskey but calling it bourbon.
yeah. So there you go. Yeah, don't start that. That's a whole different debate. So here's the thing with pumpkin seeds. Here's the one thing. A fun fact with pumpkins. Let me ask the chat. If you don't mind, chat, is pumpkin a fruit or a vegetable? Taylor, you probably already know the answer, so I don't want you to answer that if you don't mind.
Okay, no, I won't.
But
I won't.
is it a fruit or is it a vegetable? Hey, DJ. And Sue, I see Susie here. Chris, how are you? Annie and everyone,
Yes,
how you guys
Susie's
doing?
like Nutella not having enough hazelnut.
Hey, Arizona, yes. So is pumpkin a fruit or a vegetable, ladies and gentlemen? What do you
So
think it
far,
is?
people are saying fruits. I think
Okay, good.
everyone's going to guess fruit because it
Yes,
feels like
hey,
a trick
JP.
question.
Yes, it is. Okay, now, good. I just want to make sure. It is a fruit because of the fact that it has seeds inside of it. So good. I'm glad to know that.
Yes. DJ Swift, Arizona, all Susie, everyone saying fruit.
Oh, cool. Perfect. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Now, I'm just using a spoon. You can use any spoon you have. I just recommend it's a spoon that has a sturdy handle because you don't want it to bend. So
I saw
all you're doing
someone
is
the other day using a hand mixer, but they were carving the pumpkin. Like they just cut off the top of the pumpkin and then, or it wasn't a hand mixer, it was like a paint mixer. So I guess like a larger version of the hand mixer. And they used
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Paint mixer. Well, I never seen that.
Yeah.
But okay, perfect. Well, let me get rid of this.
Y'all, welcome to FoodTok TV. This is our newest creator on here, and he is making pumpkin carbonara and a pumpkin sour. Thank y'all so much for tapping those screens. Please tap the screens. Be sure you're following because we do live cooking content every day. And we are so glad to have them on here at 12 p.m. Central on Thursdays.
Yes, I look forward to it, and thank you. I appreciate here, and I'm excited to do this. Now I'm looking for my peeler, and of course, just like always, when you live in a house full of kids, they move all your stuff. I don't know if anyone's ever experienced that, and all my peelers are gone to peel the skin of everything. I had it out, but
there's a couple of creators on here with kids, and they're always missing forks and spoons. Like,
yeah, like
miss all that stuff without having kids.
Yeah. Well, I might have to just go old school with it and just use a knife.
All right.
But what I'm going to do right now is also roast the pumpkin, because when it's raw, it's very, very hard. So you can eat it, but I don't recommend it. So what I do when I roast my pumpkin, grab a little olive oil. And this is not wine. It was wine in there. It's just olive oil. I like to do a challenge. I like to open a bottle of wine. I like to drink it all in one night, have fun. Next day, clean it out and fill it with oil. Add a little bit of salt. I'm gonna put a little bit of water in the pan, and the goal is to steam and roast at the same time. And all I'm gonna do is put it in my oven for about 45 minutes to an hour. Now, and I'll get roasted pumpkin, and it'll be soft. And while that's happening right now, I'm rendering my bacon right here in this pan. And I'm going to keep rendering out for a little bit while I work on cutting my pumpkin. So this is raw
respectively,
pumpkin.
Rosie. Hello.
Hey, Rosie, how you doing?
Also, so 42 Rachel in here. Hello there. Welcome in.
So all I'm going to do is cut around so I can cut the ends off. I was going to use my pillar, but I can't find it now. So we're going to use a knife. Now, here's the important thing with cutting. When you're using anything that is cutting, you need to make sure you have a sturdy, flat surface. A very sturdy, flat surface. Awesome. You know what? I found it.
Oh, nice.
Okay, but let's go back to the sturdy, flat surface. If I was to try to cut like this, I'm going to cut myself because of the fact that it's not steady. If you have a flat surface, it's easier to cut. So always make sure you have a flat surface when you're cutting or even peeling.
Yeah, if you're using any sort of sharp anything, it's got to be staying put.
Yeah, do the best you can. But who in here likes pumpkin? If you don't mind.
I love pumpkin. I am such a sucker for pumpkin.
Yeah, you know what? It's one of those things where I actually don't eat it enough, and I probably should. I just don't think it's just for me. Like I usually eat it Thanksgiving, of course, pumpkin pie, but I don't really eat that whole pumpkin spice thing. I'm not crazy on the latte thing, but it's because of what I said earlier, how it doesn't typically have pumpkin in it. But I'm trying to learn to use pumpkin more in my diet, especially in the fall, because pumpkin is a very fallish item, and I think it's great to be used.
Well, and I really
And
like for this carbonara dish, it's not going to be heavy on the warming spices that are also
no,
associated with it. You're giving it another flavor profile to it. So
yes,
it's not just warming spices.
yeah. And if you're not familiar with what a carbonara is, now anything I cook in general, I would never say it's 100% authentic. It's what I always look at recipes, look at 4 to 5 recipes, and I pick and choose what I feel is the best of each part of the recipe, and then from there I go and fit it to fit my style. So with this, like when it comes to carbonara, some people might not be aware, but carbonara is a dish that is very creamy. It is from Italy, from the area of Rome. And now it could be debated what part of Italy, but traditionally the consensus is it's Rome. Now, people think carbonara has cream in it because it is a creamy pasta. The thing with carbonara that's interesting is there is no cream in it. There is cheese in it, but there is no cream. Traditionally, there's no cream. And some people might say, well, how does it become creamy? Because that's a little weird, right? The reason it becomes creamy is because of the fact that has a mixture of egg yolks and you temper them with cheese. And you'll see that in a little bit where I'm going to use pasta water to temper them, and that alone will make it creamy.
Susie had a really good question.
Are
you going to be saving your peels?
You know what? Typically, so Susie tends all of my life, so I'm known to save everything I can and try to reuse it. The pills today, I didn't study yet what to do with my pills. So the quickest answer right now is no. So I'm probably letting you down. But
I know what you're doing as soon as you're done with this live, though. Yes. Looking that up.
Yes.
Oh, we have some FoodTok TV people in the house. Kaz just joined us. Melissa Murd just joined us.
Welcome. How you doing? How's everyone doing? So all I'm doing right now is putting my pumpkin in here. These are all cubed pumpkin that I'm going to put in this bowl. Eventually, what I'm going to do is after this bacon has been rendered out, after I've rendered out this bacon, I'm going to use the remaining bacon fat in here, and I'm going to cook the pumpkin in it.
Oh, right on.
So I'm going to
I love using bacon fat as my cooking method. Love it.
I mean, I secretly, here, let me show you what I have. I secretly have something where I use, actually right here. Where's that? It's right here. I have a little jar of bacon fat that I just use on a rainy day. So whenever I need it.
Last week I had used some of my leftover bacon fat and I used it to make a mayonnaise.
Oh, really?
Highly recommend.
I never thought about doing that. So who likes bacon? Does everyone like bacon? Oh, good.
Kaz is letting us know in the chat that Mama T is excited because we got Grub Match this Saturday at 6 p.m. Central. We have a challenger that challenges a FoodTok TV creator. And that was actually Benjamin's introduction to FoodTok TV. He was the first of the new season of Grub Match. Their ingredient was coconut. This Saturday, the ingredient is potato. So I'm excited about potatoes. So be sure you tune in on Saturday. And if you're not following us already, you totally should.
Now, while we're doing that, I'm going to start taking advantage of this time. I'm going to start working on the pumpkin spice syrup that we need to make.
Thanks for the follow.
For the cocktail. So all I'm going to do
is saying bacon is life and bacon on everything, including donuts.
Okay, cool. Bacon donuts is actually good. That sweet, savory component. Every now and then I even do chocolate covered bacon. I don't know if that sounds weird to some people, but sweet and salty, it's amazing.
I'll take those rather than roses on Valentine's Day.
Oh, there you go. That's very smart. So listen, hey, I hope Ryan heard that. Hey, Victor. So this is brown sugar. This is a half a cup of brown sugar. Okay. This is a half a cup of white sugar. Now, all I'm going to do is also do 1 cup of water. Then from here, I am going to add it to my burner or my stove, and I'm going to turn it on to about high heat. Let that sugar melt. Then when that sugar melts, I'll start adding some spices in there that will be part of the pumpkin spice. And let me check on my bacon. While this is happening,
this is how I know that you have a background in bars and stuff, because I've worked in a lot of craft bar places, and this is exactly one of our prep works we'd always be doing, always making our own simples.
Yes, I'm a fan of what if you can create it yourself, do it. Why pay? Well, also too, I am a self-proclaimed baller on a budget. What that means is it costs a lot of money to buy something made for you, and you'll be surprised on the savings that you can have, and you can earn extra money for you and your family, and just by making it yourself. And it's usually not that complicated. It just usually takes a few extra steps. But so when it comes to this, all this is going to happen is this in this pot right now, 1 cup of water, half a cup of brown sugar, half a cup of regular white sugar. We're going to let that come to a boil. Then I am going to soon start adding some spices, and that's how we're going to make our pumpkin syrup. But the one thing we're going to use to our actual spiced pumpkin syrup is going to be actual pumpkin. Like I said earlier, if you didn't hear, traditionally pumpkin spice or pumpkin spice lattes or syrups and all that other stuff typically doesn't have pumpkin in it. It's just usually the heavy spices. But here we go. Now, one thing I am doing too, I am heating up my water because I know I need to cook pasta eventually. So I'm gonna heat it up. Something that's really important when you cook pasta, you got to make sure it's salted. The point is you want the pasta by itself to be flavorful. I always use kosher salt. I always recommend kosher salt.
Do
Kosher
you have
salt
a
is
brand of kosher salt that you go to?
you know what? I go to whatever's the best deal.
Fair enough.
That's
I just know
that's
that
what.
there's some people who are like determined to stick with
No,
Diamond Crystal as theirs, but I'm the same way. It's just what's on sale.
I go whatever is the best deal. Hey, Melissa, how you doing? So when it comes to kosher salt, the reason at the end of the day, I would just tell you, please use kosher salt instead of any like table salt. Now, here's the reason why. A lot of times people are scared to over season stuff, and they've had some nightmares, and I've been there. I think we've all been there when we over season things, right? Table salt is a smaller grain salt, and what typically happens is if you had 1 tablespoon of table salt compared to 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, you would actually have more salt in the table salt because it's a smaller grain. It would fill up quicker. It'll fill up more. And also table salt usually is more saltier just in general. So if you ever tasted table salt and kosher salt next to each other, you will see that table salt is a saltier salt. So you tend to over season or over salt things by using table salt, unfortunately.
Right.
So,
And it's not that
so
it's inherently saltier, it's just a lot more salt,
yeah,
concentrated salt.
it's just do it. I mean, do what's comfortable for you. I just know that with my background of being in the food and beverage for over 20 years, kosher salt is used in all the restaurants. Uh, here's
Thank
a
you for
known
the
fact too.
pumpkins, Melissa.
Oh, thank you, Melissa. Here's also a known fact too. You might not be aware. Um, maybe at least in Arizona, the bars, like the margarita salt. Uh, we typically don't buy margarita salt. We typically use kosher salt. I don't know if that's same place in your area,
Oh,
Taylor.
yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. But
Yeah,
if you buy it in a little tin and it's labeled margarita salt, then bam, $4.
yeah, it's kosher salt. That's what it is. It's kosher salt that has a label of margarita salt on it. That's all it is. So
No, Melissa Murd, the one throwing the pumpkins, she does her show with Mark on Mondays at 6 p.m. Central called The Spice is Right. So be sure you're following them and be sure you tune in on FoodTok TV for all of our shows that we go on live every single day.
yes, Melissa was actually she was the one that her and I battled, and it was a very
Yes.
fun. And the secret ingredient was coconut, and boy was it a challenge. And I had so much fun doing it though. I always need a lot of towels in the kitchen. Just you always make messes, so just understand that. Now, one thing I am going to do while this is happening, I need to toast a couple peppercorns. So this is going to be for the carbonara. All I'm going to do is grab out a little pot, put it right here, just turn it to a medium-high heat. In this little ramekin, I literally have like 6 peppercorns. It's pretty much, if you're not familiar with what a peppercorn is, it's when you ground up pepper, this is what it is before it's grounded up. It's usually what's in a pepper mill. I'm toasting it because it adds a different little profile flavor. Now my syrup is starting to boil right here. So here's what we're gonna do, okay? All I'm gonna do to it is add my pumpkin, my fresh pumpkin. This is roasted pumpkin that I already roasted previous. So you need to have roasted pumpkin. Now, what you can do,
Merci, Rosie, for that gift.
Thank you, Rosie. Can you use cans? Absolutely. I'm just using fresh pumpkin because of the fact that it's available right now. So I added fresh pumpkin to that. I'm gonna turn down my bacon heat to make sure it doesn't overburn. That's the one thing with cooking with bacon. Typically, I cook my bacon in the oven. When you're cooking in a pan, I think it cooks at a higher heat because it's more of a direct heat that's happening.
That and you're doing a live show, and we like to see the bacon.
Oh yes. Here.
Yeah, let's watch bacon.
So while that's happening, I am going to add a teaspoon of ground ginger to my pot for my simple syrup. I'm going to add a teaspoon of cloves to the simple syrup. I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of nutmeg. Nutmeg is a very strong spice, so I'm going to use half of that because it will overpower the whole syrup. Then I'm going to add a teaspoon of cinnamon powder. And so I can get that.
Oh, man, thank you for the follow.
And I'm going to check on this, almost at the consistency that I want. Then I am going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract to this simple syrup. And now I'm going to let it cook down for about 20 minutes on a low simmer heat. And then I'm going to actually work on taking this bacon off.
Are we looking for crispy bacon?
I'm looking for halfway cooked to crispy. I do like a little bit of both. I like the textures of crispy and a softly chewy, especially in the pasta. But either you cook it to the way that you like it. There's not a right or wrong way. It's whatever your preference is. So, but like this, for this purpose, I cut them into little lardon pieces, which is little strips. Now the reason for that is because it's being mixed into a pasta. So I want the bacon to be available now. Traditionally in carbonara, you use a meat called guanciale, which is an Italian meat. It's usually made from the pig jowls and cheeks. Now, there's not that much meat on there. Me being from Arizona, especially close to the Mexican border, the Italian communities, there's definitely an Italian community here, but it's not as big as in New York or in New Jersey. So for me to get guanciale is really challenging. Now, next in line would be pancetta. I can get pancetta, but for 4 ounces of pancetta.
Oh, we got to see the finished bacon. We got to see it. You can't.
Okay, sorry.
You can't take the bacon away.
For me to get 4 ounces of pancetta, I would spend about $10. That's a lot for 4 ounces. So I don't think that's really needed. Now, what I am going to do right now, I have my peppercorns already toasted. Just going to add them right here. I'll use those. I'll toast those in a little bit, or I'll grind them up in a little bit. I have extra bacon fat right here. I don't need all this bacon fat to toast up the pumpkin, but I actually do need some bacon fat for later.
Mark, thank you for the pumpkins.
I am going to add some to a little bowl right here. I have right here. Put that back on there. And now I'm going to toast my pumpkin into the bacon fat. Hopefully you can see that. Perfect. That's enough. I don't necessarily need to toast all of this pumpkin, but so here we go. Let me work on cleaning up and putting my spices away.
Yes, and y'all, these recipes that he's making is already up on FoodTokTV.com, so be sure you check that out. It's already up. And y'all, if you are not following Cooking with Father Preneur, you can just search for him, and he will be right there.
Okay, perfect.
I'm sure we've tagged him in a video or so. You'll be able to find him.
Yes. So while
he goes
that's
live a lot on his own page. I will type his username now.
And you know what? I could also say hello right here.
Oh, yes, you can.
Hello.
Do that. Yeah, say hello.
Okay, here we go.
So people can see your account. Hello. There's Cooking with Father Preneur.
Okay, peppercorns. I'm gonna add them. I'm gonna actually grind them up right now. Okay. No, I'm gonna just a few. You don't have to do this if you don't want. You can just crush black pepper if you want, but I just like the taste of toasted black pepper.
Kristen is loading you up with pumpkins right now.
Chris, how you doing? Nice to see you. So here's the one thing I'm going to show you. This syrup right now you're seeing, this is going to be the simple syrup. That is going to be a pumpkin spice simple syrup.
That would be so good in like coffee or on vanilla ice cream as well.
So here's the one thing that is great about this. I tested out the simple syrup recipe the other day, and I've been adding it to everything. So it is a really useful thing to do. So I've added to coffee, I added to alcohol, I've added it to some other stuff that like I'll show you, hopefully show you in a little bit. But right now, I need to actually work on separating some eggs. So what I need to do is I need egg yolks,
Thank you,
and
Chris.
I also need egg whites. So I'll put some plastic wrap down right now, and we're gonna go from here. And what I need to do is work on separating. Let me get a bowl real quick.
No, I appreciate y'all tapping the screens. I completely
Yeah, thank
missed
you.
that we hit 15K likes. I appreciate your dedicated finger tapping workout. And please
I
be
appreciate it.
following FoodTok TV if you're not already. We do live cooking shows every single day. This is our newest show that will be on Thursdays at noon Central Time.
Okay, perfect. Just getting my containers, what I need for my simple syrup, or not for simple, for my carbonara. So I'm just taking normal eggs, nothing too special. Let me crack them, and the goal is to be able to use some of the egg whites. And I also need to separate the egg yolks. Okay, so my goal is separating egg whites and egg yolks.
I must have, okay.
Perfect, there we go.
So Victor does want to know what your take is on sea salt, because we were talking about salt earlier.
I think it's great. It's a great salt. All salts are different. I just personally, I don't just like to use table salt. That's all. Just not a fan of table salt. I think sea salt's great. All salts have different benefits and tastes. I mean, at the end of the day, salt's a mineral. So I think seasoning and salt is important to every aspect. But sea salt is an amazing idea. Nothing wrong with it.
Hey, Red Wagon Bakery, another one of our creators is in the house.
Oh, hey, how are you doing?
She goes live at 7 a.m. on Wednesdays.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, yeah, she does. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah.
You're right. No, I go to her channel. Okay, perfect.
I love her show, but for some reason I just can't wake up on Wednesdays, which is the theme of their Wednesday shows is Wake Up Wednesdays.
Is it?
Yes,
okay,
but
while that's happening, let's check out this pumpkin.
yes.
Okay, I need to. So
Jeanette, hello.
One thing, if you notice, I haven't really fussed with it too much. I haven't moved it often because the whole point is when you're sauteing something, you want a crust to build, and the way a crust will build naturally is by leaving it alone. If I keep moving it, a crust will not naturally build, and I need this pumpkin to have a crust on it. So the goal is to make it nice and crispy on each side, but we still need more time. So give me 1 second and grab another egg. Now, I also am using eggs in a couple different ways. I need egg yolks for the carbonara. I need an egg white for a cocktail. Some of you might be saying, whoa, that's weird. Yes, I'll be using an egg white for a cocktail. The reason for that, it's an old school way of making especially alcohol beverages. And that's why I'm separating this egg white alone. This is alone going to be for a cocktail. Has anyone ever used egg whites for a cocktail before?
You know, I'm going to be honest, even though I spent over a decade being a bartender, I have never used egg white in a cocktail.
You know, part of it's a very
the bars
old school.
I've worked at have done aquafaba as the replacement.
Yes, and that's kind of like I guess you can kind of say more like if you wanted to not have a raw egg or a raw egg white,
vegan
yes, you
substitute.
can. But let's say when it comes to Prohibition era, that's kind of where these recipes could come from when it comes to using raw egg. It's an old school method of making cocktails. What it does, it adds frothiness to the drink itself. So that's kind of that's what the goal is. And I'm gonna set this right here. Give me 1 moment, just getting myself cleaned. The most important thing when you're cooking is to make sure you clean always as you go. Makes life a little easier. Because I need my egg white cold, I'm gonna put it back in the fridge because I will be making eventually a cold drink. So
we just got some more people joining us through some shares.
Awesome.
So be sure you're sharing this live as well. We really do appreciate it. And I appreciate y'all tapping the screens. Let's see if we can get to 20K before we see a cocktail.
Yes, that'd be great. And now I'm gonna stir my pumpkin a little bit. Here, let's go over here so you can see that. And see, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Hold on, I'm smashing it, of course. You see that browning?
Oh, yes.
That's exactly what I am looking for.
A lot of people are saying they definitely have not done egg white in a drink. A lot of people are saying that.
Yeah,
Rosie says that it's popular in the Bay Area. Drinks
oh
with an
yeah.
egg,
So
the raw egg white.
one thing that's happening, at least in food and beverage. Okay, food and beverage has trends, and right now, old school is back. Old school is in classic cocktails. So you see that in a lot of hipster bars and things like that. So that's why you see today. There's times where like sliders, everyone loves sliders. Sliders were a trend. Margaritas were a trend, and things like that always come and go. And well, yeah, so right now in the bar scene is a lot of old school cocktails, but it's also putting a spin on them. Like the other day, I had a Manhattan with but it was a Moscow. Oh no, not Moscow, a mezcal, not Moscow, mezcal,
Oh.
which is a liquor from Mexico, and it
Was
was
the
a
mezcal like the main liquor in that?
yes. So they took that same concept and used that. Now mezcal is a smoky. The best way to describe it, it's a smoky agave spirit. You have to like smoke. Not everyone likes smoke. So
It is
uh,
smoky, but I often get like peaty flavors.
yeah, well, every mezcal is different too. They're not all the
Yeah.
same. So they all taste different completely. Now let me see. Let me work on my station to see where I'm at time wise. Okay, I'm good. I need my pasta water to start boiling soon. Now, seasoning is important. This pumpkin, I'm going to put a little salt, put a little pepper. Now, one thing I would always say, I've been asked this a couple times, or at least every now and then, and I like to share information where a lot of the time people might say, why does my food not necessarily taste like the same way it does in a restaurant? Usually the two things that are separating the flavor profiles is butter and seasoning. You'll see a lot of like great chefs. I've worked with some amazing chefs in the world that they season as they go. It's not about over seasoning. It's about learning how to season just correctly. And it takes time. It takes practice. I used to make a bunch of mistakes when I was seasoning. But you learn your own rhythm. You learn your own style. Okay, I have a water starting to come to boil now. I have my
Boy Mom
syrup.
Gamer says that they're driving, but they're listening, and
Oh,
there's a
awesome.
lot of mixed feelings about mezcal in the comments. Let us
Yeah.
know how y'all feel about mezcal.
Okay.
I like
Give me.
mezcal, but I can't have it be the only liquor in a drink. I feel like it needs to be the supplemental.
Okay, so what I am going to start working on is we're gonna strain the syrup. So here's what we're going to strain. I am going to have a bowl right here. I'm going to put you all right here. I am going to use a cheesecloth for straining purposes. I have a double strainer. I need this to be strained really well. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put this, do this. So then I am going to pour this syrup through. Because what I'm trying to do, I do not want the pulp or the heavy spices in this drink, especially with whatever I use it for. So what's happening is now you're going to see the syrup is just seeping through and it's holding everything back. If you look on my neck, I'll show you right now. This is being held, it's holding everything back. And what we're getting is our syrup right there. And if you could smell this room right now, it is a very pumpkin spice holiday room. All you smell is that. So for anyone who likes pumpkin and all that, this is that time that you love this smell. I'm gonna flip you though.
I feel like
Put you
I can
back over.
smell it through the screen just because I know exactly how that must smell.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'll tell you this. Now, here's the thing. For anyone who knows me, I'm known as the person who tries to save everything. That's why I got asked earlier about, hey, what am I gonna do with the pumpkin skins, right? So typically when people strain this, they normally when they strain, they probably throw stuff away like this. So yesterday I was challenging myself. This was separate from what I'm cooking. I said, you know what could I do with this? And so I randomly came up with some thoughts. And what I did, I actually took this reserve strain pulp, which is a mixture of pumpkin and all the spices I put in there. I mixed it, I made a compound butter that all I took was soft butter, mixed it with the pumpkin spice. So think
Pumpkin
about it.
butter.
If you had French toast, pancakes, or you have a recipe that calls for butter, imagine using this now. Yeah, it's a flavored pumpkin butter. So pumpkin spice butter. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, my syrup is done. I'm gonna separate this.
Lovely
Don't need
Lydia
that.
says, Mr. Reuse and Recycle.
Yes. So now this is still really hot. So I am gonna let it cool down in my fridge. But all I did, because I already made some in advance too, so I'll show you what I did. I just put it through a funnel. And here's some of the syrup right now that now this was full here, but I've been using it. So I've had a few cocktails in the last couple of days. So please forgive me. And let's go over here, check on the pumpkin now that we're searing. So if you see, it's starting to get a little more color. I don't know if you guys can see on your side. Definitely more color is happening. So I am going to turn the heat down really low because it's pretty much cooked. I just need it to stay slightly warm. My water is coming to a boil, which is good. And I'm going to starting to cook pasta. Give me a few moments. I'm going to also start working on a cocktail too. So let me grab some ice.
Oh, yes. Go ahead and grab that. And I'll just talk about FoodTok TV real quick. And I'll welcome in, please. Yeah, welcome in. Welcome to FoodTok TV. If this is your first time seeing us, we do live cooking shows every single day of the week, oftentimes multiple times a day. I'm usually on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central, but I canceled my show today because I'm doing Grub Match, which is our cooking competition that will be on Saturday at 6 p.m. Central. We have a challenger challenging someone on FoodTok TV for using one ingredient. They have 1 hour to make as many dishes as possible. And so on Saturday, it will be potatoes. Working on it, Melissa.
Next is actually need to grate some Parmesan. One moment. Who likes Parmesan cheese? Does anyone like Parmesan cheese? This is the wedge of Parmesan. I love Parmesan cheese. And for this recipe, I'm actually going to use my micro zester because the fact I need the Parmesan to be very, very fine. So when you use a micro zester, it just shreds it very fine compared to using a regular zester. It kind of gives it like a flakiness to it. So
ooh, I see a chef snack in the bowl.
Oh yeah, I know. There's a couple that fell in there. I'll take those out a little bit.
Oh, Jeanette wants me to say that she says, I like this guy. Can you tell me who he is? This is Benjamin with Cooking with Father Preneur. This is his
Jeanette.
very first FoodTok TV show. You may recognize him from the first Grub Match. Oh, dear. It's paused. He'll be right back, I promise. He must have hit a weird button. There we go. That happens sometimes.
Hello.
But he was on the very first episode of Grub Match. We've been talking for a bit, wanting to get him on FoodTok TV, and the day has finally come. So he goes live on his show or on his page all the time doing cooking, and you can talk more about yourself. I don't have to talk about you.
Yeah. My name's Benjamin, as Taylor said, aka Cooking with Father Preneur. I come with a history of food and beverage. I was in the hospitality industry for over 20 years. The last 15 years of the 20 years, I was a director of food and beverage, which meant I just oversaw the whole food and beverage operation. I'm not a chef. Never say I will be. Never claim to be. But I did happen to oversee the chefs and anyone else in food and beverage. That's part of a director's job. Adding my pasta to the water. So when you're in that position, you don't necessarily need to be the best at everything. You just got to know what to do, or you need to be comfortable. Especially if you're going to tell a chef that they're wrong, you better know what you're talking about. Just put it that way.
Oh, I love doing that.
Yeah. But you have to really know what you're talking about, because there's a lot of egos going in there. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just they're very good at their job. So You have to be able to finessely communicate. So I'm actually going to start boiling my water, my pasta. Now, what I do every time I look at a box of pasta or a bag, whatever, however you buy pasta, whatever it says to cook, let's say if it says 8 minutes, I do 1 minute less. The reason why, I want to make sure it's not overcooked. You want it to be al dente, which is firm to the bite. Typically, it can be overcooked. So that's where like I'm not wanting to do that. So I just want to control it. So I'll taste it at. So an example, I set a timer for 7 minutes. I'll taste it at 7 minutes. Then I'll determine if I need to do another minute or another two. I want to control as much as I can, and I don't want soggy pasta, if that makes sense.
Soraya, thank you for the pumpkins. And Carizona, thank you for the roses. Mwah. Thank you all for welcoming Benjamin.
So this is enough cheese in here. But what I am going to do, so here's what we're going to do. This is going to get weird. Cheese, egg yolks. Okay. Now, while you're, if you see right here, one hand's right here, one hand's right here, I'm stirring the pasta. You have to keep stirring the pasta when you are cooking to prevent it from sticking. I know some people use olive oil in their pasta. I've never done it. I'm not opposed to it. I just never done it. I just know water and oil don't mix. So for me, it didn't really make too much sense to do that way. I do need a little bit of egg whites in here. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of egg whites. Okay. Then peppercorns. Gonna mix this. So this is what's gonna make everything creamy. This will literally make the pasta creamy. And now you might say, well, it's raw eggs.
Making it rain with pumpkins.
Oh, thank you, Zoraida. So some people are saying that's weird. It's what are you doing? It's raw eggs. Soon I'll be doing something called tempering. You'll see that in a little bit, where I will temper the eggs by adding hot liquid to it, but not add a little bit at a time. And the goal is to make sure I don't scramble the eggs. It's kind of almost making a custard. So here's what I am going to do. Let's go over here. I'm going to take advantage of this time. My pasta is still going. I'm going to take my pumpkin out. Because it's sitting in a lot of fat, I'm just going to put it on a little plate and separate it. It is seasoned pumpkin, salt and pepper, and bacon fat. So this is where the pumpkin is a completely different flavor. It's not in the sweet component.
And he wants to know if you know the difference in the flavor profiles of pumpkin, like a white pumpkin or orange pumpkin.
That is a great question. Okay, so the pumpkin I'm using is called a sugar pumpkin, or also a pie pumpkin. It's a small pumpkin. Now, all pumpkins are different. Cinderella pumpkin, hence that's a pumpkin that looks like the Cinderella coach on the cartoon, right? It actually is typically used in Europe for cooking. In America, we use it as decoration, but that type of pumpkin is more of a creamy flesh. It has a creamy texture. It's also sweet. This is the sugar pie pumpkins are typically sweeter. The jack-o'-lanterns, which are the ones we use for carving, right? You can cook with them, you can eat them, but they're a little more denser and not as flavorful. So all pumpkins are built different. So hopefully that kind of answers the question a little bit. But yeah. Now what do I need to do? It's time to do cocktail, I think. Wow. I have 16 minutes. Perfect.
Oh yeah, are the white ones softer?
The white ones can be.
Because you said it was creamy.
Well, I'm talking about the Cinderella ones. I don't know if you ever seen the Cinderella pumpkin. Yeah, that flesh has more of a creamy flesh. Like so, when you cook it, it's just like a cream texture almost. But okay, here's what we're gonna do. What we need is bourbon. Hopefully, everyone likes bourbon. If you don't, I'm definitely sorry.
Yes, 20K. We did hit 20K likes before the cocktail came out. Y'all are awesome.
Okay. Awesome. Good. Then I need a knife. So I need to juice a lemon. And I have my favorite juicer. Where is my favorite juicer at? I had it out here.
I feel like whenever I'm live, all my favorite utensils just get up and leave. Sorry,
Yeah.
I think.
Oh. I literally had it out, but give me 1 second while I look for my juicer.
Oh, yes, totally. Yes.
Just
Y'all,
check my
welcome to
pasta.
FoodTok TV. We do live cooking shows every single day. Be sure you're giving us a follow. Oftentimes, multiple times a day, we have our shows. This is his very first show on FoodTok TV, so thank y'all for welcoming him. Benjamin, Cooking with Father Preneur.
Hello. So just juicing this. Okay, perfect. Set that to the side. Then next is going to be
noon Central, my bad.
Yes, noon every Thursday. I'm very excited about this. So grab my jigger. In the bottom part of this, I'm going to add about 1 ounce of lemon juice, fresh lemon juice, 1 ounce of the pumpkin syrup. Thank you for the gifts. I appreciate it.
Yes, killing it.
Okay. 1 ounce. Perfect.
And y'all, this recipe is already up on FoodTok TV.
Okay. 2 ounces of bourbon, actually 2.5. Okay. Then before I continue, let me put this stuff away. Okay. Let me check on my, okay, I have 37 seconds left until I need to drain my pasta. So actually, we're going to put this cocktail on hold just for a second because I need to taste the pasta. Because my goal is to make sure the pasta does not overcook, okay? And that is going to be really important right now. I'm on a time crunch. So here's what I am going to do. Here's how I test my pasta. You'll see how I do it. What I'm going to do is going off in 10 seconds. I'm going to grab my tongs, grab 1 noodle. Okay. All I'm going to do, the taste tells me it needs another minute. So I'll set a timer, 1 minute. The reason I'm doing a timer for 1 minute, when you're cooking like this, 1 minute to 2 minutes can change the whole dish. So I got to make sure I set a timer because when I don't set a timer, 5 minutes goes by and now I have a completely soggy dish. But here's what I am going to do. I need to temper these eggs. So actually, I'm going to try to give you a better view of this, how I'm going to do this. Sorry about that. Here's what you're going to do. All I'm going to do, grab pasta water. Thank you. Grab pasta water, put it in there, stir it.
Life goal achieved. Thank y'all.
Oh, thank you. All I'm going to do is keep adding pasta water to this in little bits, increments. And what this is doing is called tempering. And add a little bit at a time. And the goal is it's not going to get scrambled. Cool. Timer went off. I'm going to add a little bit more water. And it's making a very creamy custard. Now more of a savory, I would say. I'm going to just keep adding a little bit of water at a time.
So many people are commenting about how they like how neat you are and organized.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. It's part of you learn. You learn by making a bunch of mistakes. Let's put it that way. I'll tell you that. Okay. And then, perfect. This is a really delicate thing, so you got to be very careful. Too much water can ruin it. Too much heat at one time can ruin it. So it's about being very careful. Now I need to strain this. So here's one thing I'm gonna strain. Every time I strain pasta or strain something, I always get like a very a weird compliment. Maybe it's because of the way I do it. I'm not saying it's amazing. It's just different. So I'm gonna show you what I do. Maybe it makes sense to you, maybe it doesn't. We'll find out, right? So here's the way I look at this. I use a strainer right here. Okay. I look at the strainer. I look at the shape of it. I put it into the bowl or to the pot, right? And I use it and I hold everything back like this. It's less mess, less fuss. I'm not getting water splashed over me. I don't know.
I love it. No, this is the second time I've seen you do that.
It makes life a little easier. I'm not having to fight with it. Okay.
So we do
Put this to
have
the
someone
side.
wanting to know where you learned about the tempering of the eggs.
It just when you're in the food and beverage long enough, you just kind of learn this, and you do a lot of cooking in your own. It's just more of a thing that you just learn. And I mean, I wanted to learn how to make pasta carbonara once, and I just looked at recipes. So here's the thing. Here's where it gets a little tricky now. Okay, this is where I had to put the cocktail on hold. I have to add these noodles to this. These are hot noodles, and I have to add it to this mixture a little bit at a time because it can still scramble the eggs. So this is also another form of tempering. Okay. Has anyone ever made carbonara before? I wonder. Has anyone ever made carbonara before?
I definitely have.
Yeah.
I'm curious about what other people think.
Am I doing anything a little different than you? Because I mean, there's different ways of doing it. Just want to know.
I haven't done like doing the pasta in with there. I usually just like temper a lot with the pasta water, but I like tempering with the pasta. I love
Now
that.
There's also something I'm doing too. If you notice, I'm not reheating this in the pan. The reason why, it will start scrambling the eggs because of the heat.
Yes. We do have a couple people saying yes, a lot of people saying no, and they haven't made it because they've been scared.
Okay, if you recall, I saved him some bacon fat, just a little bit. Okay. It's not hard. It can be more of a little time consuming. But what's cool about Italian food a lot of times, Italian food always gets like this praise of how great it is. What it is, the Italians do something really cool. They make food simple, and they don't use a lot of ingredients, and they let the ingredients speak for themselves and let the ingredients shine. If you look at it, there's not a lot of ingredients in this. It's just applying some cooking techniques. So what I am going to do now, add some pumpkin, add some bacon. Not all of it, saving some of it. I save some for a snack. Okay. Now, what I am going to do, I have my timers going off.
Thank you for the roses.
Thank you.
I don't know how to say your username.
Zavale, how you doing?
Zavale.
Actually, hold on. Let me grab my cutting board. Sorry. Need to finish making a cocktail now. Also need to chop up some parsley.
Yes.
So what
Part
I do
two
is
of the cocktail. Y'all, I appreciate y'all tapping those screens. I can't believe we're almost at 25K. Great work.
Is that normal? What's normal?
It depends on the day. Some people, sometimes the shows like people just have different fingers. It can be an extremely popular live, but then almost no likes. You know, it's all over.
Yeah.
You know. But this has been always rapidly going up, and that's great.
Okay, cool. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, now, you know what? Timer's going off. Because of time restraints, I need to make sure I get everything cleaned up real quick. If you see me cook ever, I can't cook in a dirty kitchen, or I can't make anything in a dirty kitchen. So I need to make sure.
Love the baby hippos. Thank you, Zoraida, and thank you, Savale. Thank you.
I need to make sure. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you guys a quick technique on how to plate and make something look fancy. Okay. If you have a pair of tongs or tweezers like this, which you can do, put this in there. You can also use this with chopsticks. All I'm going to do, turn this. Okay. I want to make sure I grab a good amount. Keep turning. Put it into a ladle. This is what restaurants do. Okay.
Madonna, thank you.
This is where I said you're going to save some of the bacon and pumpkin, because inside the noodle dish there is bacon, there's pumpkin. but you're gonna add a little more on the sides for decoration. And if you notice, I cut up some parsley earlier. We're gonna just top it a little bit of parsley. And then I will show you, I guess I can show you real quick. That is the dish.
Yummy.
And there's the cream, there's a sauce in there. So it's a different type of pasta. Now that that's out of the way, it's time to get drunk. What do you say?
Love it.
You're all for getting drunk? Who's up for a cocktail? Okay.
I'm on my way.
Okay, perfect. Let me get a fresh thing of ice now. Here's a key to this cocktail. I have had a glass in my fridge for hours. I have a glass that's super cold. If you don't have room in your fridge for a glass that's super cold, which you can do, you can fill a glass up with ice and fill it with some cold water. Let it sit in there for about 5 minutes. It'll make the glass really cold. The point of that is you want to keep your cocktail cold. This type of cocktail I make, I will use ice to make the drink. There will not be ice in the drink because it's meant to be enjoyed by itself. It's also meant to be one of those ones you're going to drink like in 5 minutes. It's not meant to be like one you're going to be babysitting for the next hour. So if you recall, in this container, I already put my bourbon, which was 2.5 ounces of bourbon. I put also 1 ounce of lemon juice, 1 ounce of the syrup that we made, which is the pumpkin spice syrup. If you recall that egg white that we saved, here it is. And here's what we're going to do. Drop the egg white, drop it like it's hot, okay? Then I'm going to take this off because every time I do this move, it always hits that. You'll see in a little bit. I'm going to do something called a dry shake, where what you do is you dry shake this without ice, okay? And what you're doing is this is going to help make it frothy. You can't add ice right now. And you're going to be tired for a little bit. It's a good workout for your arms. So definitely for about 15 seconds, 20 seconds. Don't get tired. Just keep going. Okay, perfect. Next, add some ice. Okay, perfect. And because I'm making a mess, clean up. Always clean up as you go. Then you add, now you do a regular shake. This is not called a dry shake. This is just a regular shake. And while this is happening, I need a double strainer. Clean up still. Grab your glass that is cold. I'm using a coupe glass, fancy old school. You see like how it's like frothy and all that already? That's the perfect glass you want for your drink.
Yeah, that's a glass that looks like it should have a $15 cocktail in there.
Oh, yeah. So if the lid is hard to take off, that means you did a good job. The suction is so good. Sometimes,
I never can pop it open on the first try. I can never do it.
But it's a good sign. You did your job right.
It's never the first try.
This one is really stuck.
Oh, yeah.
What's weird is moving, but... Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect.
There we go.
Okay. So here's a double strainer. Put one strainer in. Double strainer to hold back. This also creates a frothiness to it. You will see there will be a top layer that would naturally build. That would be frothy because of the egg white.
And the dry shake and the double strainer. You got all the frothy tools in.
Yeah. Now, sometimes it's a little fussy. You grab your favorite teaspoon.
Me too, cocktail.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need to do this. Sometimes your strainer is just too good and it's just holding back everything.
Love it. And y'all, the recipe for this pumpkin sour is already up on FoodTokTV. It should be one of the first recipes up once you go there. And you can also look at the schedule and see which one of your favorite creators is on next.
Yeah, the next creator, I know typically it'll be you tonight, but I know you're taking off for get to start practicing for the Saturday. The next creator, I think,
Yes.
is Mr. Crown Royal for tomorrow.
Oh,
Or
yes.
no?
Tomorrow we have Mr. Crown Royal on at 6:30 p.m. Central, and we also have Maggie, the substitute teacher. She's
Oh
on at
yes.
4 p.m. Central.
Okay, perfect. It is where I
So
want it to
double
be.
header on Friday.
So here's what you do: clean up your mess, grab your favorite bitters, and you're gonna put it. It's not about being perfect. It's about dropping it wherever it lands. It shoots out really big. And grab a toothpick. You can kind of create your own design, and I'll show you what it looks like right now. Um, so you can create your own design. Now it's flatted out pretty big, so you just got to be able to figure out your own design. But if you look at the layers, there's frothiness on there. There's the pumpkin spice. It has that color. So this is all pumpkin. So let me show you. We are at the hour mark, but if I may take another 5 minutes to show you
Of
a
course.
couple small things that we could do. Not necessarily for cocktails, but if you recall, I'm always big on trying to figure out how to use things that is considered trash. So this is stuff people would is considered trash. It looks disgusting. This is all the stuff that I use to hold back to make the syrup. This is sugar. This is spices, vanilla syrup, vanilla extract, pumpkin. So the question is, if you were to throw that away, you can, but you can also save it to repurpose it. So if you recall what I did, all I took was soft butter. I told you this earlier, but all I took was took some soft butter and I put it into a bowl. I literally grabbed that mixture and mixed it with butter, and I made this amazing pumpkin spice butter. So think about next time you're gonna maybe cook some pancakes. You're gonna also maybe make some French toast, and you put butter on there. Now put pumpkin spice butter. How delicious that be?
Nice.
Or if you're baking, you want to use some. It calls for butter. It's a sweet component. This. Now even think like I'm not a baker, but if you were making let's say a pie, and you want to make a crust, if I'm correct, like a crumble crust, doesn't it call for butter and flour to be mixed together?
Yeah.
Now use
That would
this.
be really good.
So now how much have you elevated your pie game? Second is this. I did this last minute yesterday, so you know what? I'm gonna figure things out and see what I can do with this. So I had that leftover mixture, right? Of that pumpkin pie stuff. I said, you know what? I had these leftover seeds. What can I do? All I did was I threw some in there and mixed it up. And I spread it evenly. Now I'm just giving you a quick thing what I did. But pretty much I took this mixture of pumpkin seeds and now I created some amazing pumpkin spice seeds. I don't know if can you see that well?
Yeah.
Those pumpkin seeds are toasted with pumpkin spice.
Pumpkin spice, pumpkin seeds. You still
Yeah.
have your screen up so that way you can say hello to the chat. We do have some people asking where to find you.
Sorry.
Justin.
So where can you find me? You can definitely find me by here. I'm gonna say, "What up, homie?" That's my signature thing. What up, homies? That's where you can. It says "Cooking with Father Preneur." That's where you can find me.
Yes.
Definitely click on it. I go live about 5 to 6
Same hat and
times a
profile
week.
that he has on his head.
Oh, I got the puzzle piece. Hold on one moment.
Okay.
Unable. Oh, it says unable to verify, but hold on. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Do you not know how to do puzzles?
I know I do puzzle. I did 3 times. I did 3 times correctly, and it didn't work. Now the third time it worked out great. Ava and Eric, how are you doing, Ava and Eric? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Ava and Eric helped me design this little logo, so I appreciate you guys.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it says Cooking with Father Preneur. But where you can find me on here on TikTok. I am also on IG. I'm also on Clapper, but I am also now on here every Thursday, 12 o'clock Central Time, chopping it up with Father. I appreciate you all being here with me. If I may show you I guess one more round of exactly everything we did for anyone who just
Yes.
came.
Recap.
These recipes are already online. This is a pumpkin carbonara. This is a pumpkin spice bourbon sour. And
Yum.
then, of course, I showed you a couple things that we made. Like there was like little things I didn't make these necessarily right now, but I showed you some ways that you could make some other things with leftover pumpkin mix and pumpkin spices. But I really appreciate everyone here today. And thank all of you for being here. Taylor, I appreciate you being here, helping with
It was
this.
a great show. I can't believe this is only your first one. I can't wait for the following ones.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And look forward to this. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, I hope you all have an amazing day. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. And enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.